What's up, you guys? It's the movie retrospective, and it's the one like before Halloween, and I didn't even I don't think I even really meant to do this. I had totally forgotten that this movie, House of a Thousand Corpses, is actually set on Halloween.
Yeah.
I didn't realize I'd forgotten all about it.
I think this is only the third time I've seen it, and the first two times I think I saw it like on old shitty television. You know what I mean? It wasn't even HD, because it looked a lot better on the new stuff. I think because the last time I saw this must have been 2010 maybe, or 2008, around that, 2009.
Yeah.
I remember thinking this movie was okay. I mean, there were certain parts of it I liked it. I didn't really... Some of it was real disturbing when I first saw it. I was like, whoa. I didn't quite catch what the movie was about. But now that I've seen it probably like the third time, I fully understand the story. Because this time seeing it with subtitles I think helped. Because there's some details that are sometimes given that if it wasn't written on the screen, you probably wouldn't have really picked it up in the normal dialogue.
That's why I always
Yeah.
Well, plus I'm deaf as shit too, but that's why.
I liked the movie when I first saw it, though. But now I think it's a masterpiece. I mostly saw the one that's after this. What is it?
The Devil's Rejects.
Yeah, I've seen that a bunch of times. I love that one. But seeing this one, I was like, yeah, this is good too. The whole Dr. Satan aspect, I understood it a lot better now that I've seen it like three times. I didn't realize that he was trying to make an army of superhumans out of the mentally ill. I didn't really catch that in the first two viewings. So now it made a lot more sense. And the fact that weird ass family was like giving Dr. Satan offerings so he could add to his army. You know, by sending him down into that damn underground thing, you know, where he lived. So I don't know. I just liked it a lot better on third viewing. You know, like, and some people don't like Rob Zombie movies. I think this little series is his best work. You know, there are other ones that I like, but
I'm kind of more into his like original. I'm not like
shit.
super into him, but I'm more into his original stuff than I am like his remakes.
Yeah, he should have just done more stuff like this. I don't think the remake thing. No, it's kind of like he's trying to do what what's his name did with all the remakes. What's the guy? Fucking Tim Burton. Tim Burton's original stuff is pretty good, but when he does remakes, I don't really like them. You know?
Yeah.
Same thing. You know.
Well, that's the thing, and I kind of feel like, and that's kind of a good analogy, like with Tim Burton, because it's like they have such a cool vision of their own that it's like I kind of just wish they would do their own shit instead of like adapting other people's stuff all the time.
Yeah, like he just redid the Munsters, and I've seen clips of it. I'm just not interested in seeing that. I'm just like, nah.
Yeah, it doesn't really look good, to be honest with you.
Even if it's good, I don't really care about seeing it. If it was more stuff like this, more original shit that he dreamt up, like, yeah, I'd like to see it. There's only one story I think that he could probably do a remake that I would probably like it, and that would be the Omega Man. He likes that story, and he likes fucking Last Man on Earth. I'd like to see his version of Omega Man.
Yeah, I actually wouldn't mind seeing that.
I think he could be able to do that real well, because he's written songs about it. He understands those two movies, and I think he could make a really good Omega Man. One where the mutants talk, and you could do it like a mixture of the fucking Charlton Heston movie and the Vincent Price movie. You could make that into one coherent movie that homaged both. You could do it. He could do it. As long as he didn't get too silly.
Yeah, but the thing about it, and I saw like House of a Thousand Corpses, I actually saw this in the theater when it came out. I wasn't like super into Rob Zombie's music or anything. Like I thought it was okay and stuff, but I saw the trailer for it and I was like, that looks pretty cool. And I really liked kind of the throwback, grindhouse kind of vibe to it, because you have to think that this came out in 2003, and I feel like a lot of horror from like the late 90s and early 2000s, like a lot of it was kind of like remakes, and a lot of it was kind of like big studios trying to get into horror, so they were kind of like PG-13, kind of just lame ass slashers and stuff. So this looked real grotty and gross, and it's like, that looks like something different. So it looked like something I wanted to see. I remember liking it, but not loving it. So I really did want to like revisit it. And on a rewatch, I think I might like this one better than The Devil's Rejects, because even though The Devil's Rejects, I think, is like a more coherent movie, this one I feel like is a lot more fun.
It's artistic.
And
like
a lot more stylish.
Yeah, stylish.
Even though it's very over-caffeinated. Yeah. Like, you can tell that this was Rob Zombie's, like, he was super excited to, like, make a movie.
It works, though.
But yeah, it's like, it plays out like a 90-minute music video essentially, but that's okay. I think that's kind of like one of the strong points of it, is that he obviously just took like everything that he loved and everything that he thought was going to look cool and put it into one movie. And it's like I said, it might be too much for some people, but you can really see his like enthusiasm.
It's supposed to be kind of cartoonish anyway.
Right.
Kind of cartoonish with over-the-top grindhouse fucking edits and weird shit that it's supposed to take place in the 70s, and then some of the film looks like it was shot in the 70s, and it's just gritty, grimy, but then there are elements of fucking over-the-top fun in it. And it's a Halloween movie. It works. It works. I think it's a great movie. I think it's a masterpiece. I think it's a masterpiece.
I mean, I particularly like all the set design. Now, I don't know if you know this, but this movie actually started life as Universal Studios. I mean, Rob Zombie obviously was in White Zombie, and then he directed like all of his own music videos and stuff like that too.
Good,
yeah. But so Universal Studios actually asked him to do a house at Universal Studios, like Halloween Horror Nights, like not the one in Orlando, but the one in Hollywood. So their concept was House of a Thousand Corpses, and they asked Rob Zombie to do it. So while he was working on that, they were kind of like, hey, that actually might be a good movie. Do you have any ideas in that regard? And Rob Zombie was like, well, I went in there to the meeting and I didn't really have anything ready, so I just kind of pulled some stuff out my ass. And they were like, that's cool, make that. So they gave him, I think the initial budget was like $4 million. And so he started making it, and then he's like, well, we didn't really have enough money to like do a good ending. So he's like, so we did like a sucky ending, because I figured if I did a sucky ending, then they would give me more money to improve it. And that worked. They did that. So they gave him, I'm not sure what the final budget was. I've seen 7 million, I've seen 14 million, whatever it was. So he made it. And then he showed it to Universal, and he's like, I told them ahead of time before I showed them the thing. He's like, I don't want to make a mainstream horror movie. I want to make like a grindhouse drive-in kind of movie. I want it to be weird. I want it to be disgusting and grotesque. And they seemed fine with that. So like I said, they gave him the money. He showed it to them, and they were like, we think this is going to get an NC-17, and we can't have that. So they decided to stick it on a shelf. This movie was actually made in 2000, and it sat on a shelf for like several years. So Universal's like, okay, well, we don't want to release it because it's not gonna, if you have an NC-17, like a lot of theaters won't play it. So then he went to MGM approached him and said, well, we'll release it. But then Rob Zombie made a joke about MGM. Like, I think he said something like, oh, well, MGM, they don't have any morals, so they'll release it, ha ha ha, you know what I mean? Like a joke. And MGM did not like that and said, well, fuck you, we're not releasing it now.
Dumbass.
So, yeah. Oh, well. So Rob Zombie actually bought the rights back. So he's like, well, shit, fuck you, I'll just release it myself. But then Lionsgate, the studio, came forward and said, well, we'll release it. So they put it out. The thing about it, though, is that I don't know if they're ever going to show like the uncut version anywhere.
Is that what we saw?
No. Okay. We saw the theatrical cut. As far as I know, the only time that the completely uncut version has ever shown was one time at a film festival in Argentina. And after that, like, it got cut out. So there is a version. The version we saw, which is the very, very common version, is 89 minutes. There was a longer version that was 104 minutes. And I think that the initial, like, director's cut or whatever you want to call it was actually, I guess it would be 89 minutes, but it was 40 minutes longer than that.
Damn.
So,
Might not been very good, though.
Well, see, I don't know, I've never seen it, and a lot of people haven't seen it. So I heard that most of the stuff that got taken out was stuff having to do with Sherry Moon. Like, they said there was, like, some scenes of her, like, masturbating with a skeleton. There was stuff like that. I don't think a lot of the gore was cut out.
Right.
I think it was more sexual stuff.
Yeah.
So, which, like I said, that tracks. They'll leave all the violence in, but you know, you can't have a woman, like, looking like she's enjoying sex in a movie. They have to take
Well, it was
that out.
necrophilia.
Well, that too, but it's like, well, you know what's weird is I saw
little clips of that, though.
They did, though. But I think it was, like, much longer.
It's probably just not very good. Probably.
Yeah.
Because fucking a movie has to keep rolling along. It can't get bogged down in little things. When it does, it starts to become boring, you know. Just watch fucking Blade 3, you know. Fucking that shit gets bogged down like fucking crazy. So probably just trimming it up, editing it for time probably helped the movie.
I imagine it probably did, because the thing about this one, because what I was getting at with the whole, this actually started out as like not necessarily like a ride, but like an attraction at Universal Studios, and the movie actually really does play like that. It plays like you're going to Universal Studios and you're going through like a house, like at Halloween Horror Nights. I think actually Universal Studios, even before this movie came out, like I said, because it started out as its life as that, they did the trailer for it, and they did the Halloween Horror Nights house. They called it American Nightmare, though. That's originally, it was supposed to be called House of a Thousand Corpses, but then they changed the name. So I think they did it in 2003 or 2004, and then like they showed the trailer beforehand. But then it was like they did like houses based on this movie like subsequently. I think the most recent one, I think in 2019, they did a house that was like based on this as well. But it's weird because I had like I said, I remembered liking this movie, but it's a lot better than I remembered. It's also kind of like, it's kind of all over the place, and Rob Zombie has said that as well, but I kind of feel like if you approach it more as an experience, like I said, like a ride, then it's a lot better, because I kind of feel like his, you know, and this is not really shitting on him too much, but his script writing is not the strongest suit. I kind of feel like the coolest thing about this movie is just like the way it looks, like the aesthetic, the whole retro thing, and Sid Haig being Sid Haig fucking steals this fucking movie.
And also fucking sexy ass Karen Black.
Sexy ass Karen Black is in it.
I always preface Karen Black's name with sexy ass. Sexy ass Karen. That was my dad's favorite woman. Yeah. He didn't tell my mom that, but that was his favorite movie star, my dad. And I didn't really see it, you know, when I got a little bit older. I was like, yeah, she is fucking sexy.
Yeah.
But he liked the fact that she kind of had a slightly lazy eye. I think she got that fixed. Remember that when she was young?
Yeah.
I think she slightly had a little bit of a lazy
I don't know, because you can kind of see it in this movie, too.
My dad thought that shit was so sexy. And she looks great in this movie. How old is she in this movie?
I don't know. This movie, like I said, this movie was made in 2000.
So it's over 20 years old, 23 years old.
Yeah.
But I would think she was probably 60s.
She's got to be. She would have to be.
Got to be 60s.
I'd imagine.
She looks great, though. You know.
She does look great in this.
And she'd be right next to old fucking Moons. What's her name? Moon Zapper. Fucking Sherry Moon.
Sherry Moon.
Sherry Moon. Yeah. Name for fucking Moon. Okay. It's like in California. All right. Yeah, and they both look like fucking hot chicks from different generations, but bad. You know what I mean? Like fucking Karen Black's got fucking bad teeth in it. You know what I mean? Fucking,
yeah.
Like, but there's just something about her. It's, you know, fucking, and she's evil. You know, and, it's just like, and she's trying to be really coming on to people and being sexy and shit. But fucking, you know that's like a damn Black Widow. If you get involved in that, she'll fucking kill you. It's just a good character, real good character.
Yeah, she is a really good character.
Really good character.
And honestly, it's kind of like you can see why some of these characters like became so iconic, and you know how they got like a whole franchise later on. But you can tell too that Rob Zombie was like way more into the villains than he was into. But he even said that because I kind of feel like, the villains were really interesting, and like the kids, they're not really kids, but they're like young adults that come there and get fucked up. He basically knew, he's like, well, in horror movies, nobody really gives a shit about the kids. Everybody's just like all about the villains, which is not entirely true, but in a lot of kind of exploitation sentiment it is. So you can see like where he was coming from with that.
Now, earlier you said his scripts weren't his strong suit. I think it depends.
That's true.
In his original stuff, I think the scripts are good. I think the script was good in this. I don't know how it was originally written, but it was trimmed down and massaged into a good movie. So that's really all a script has to be. You know what I mean? It has to result in a good movie. And I think it did. So I wouldn't be that hard on him about the script writing. I just didn't like the scripts from some of the remake stuff that he did. I don't think they're that good, but or not that interesting. I'd much rather see him do original shit.
Yeah, I would as well. And like I said, rewatching this, because The Devil's Rejects, I like The Devil's Rejects, but that is a much more like mean-spirited movie.
Yeah, that one's kind of disturbing, man.
This one is too, but this one at least has like that kind of like overblown like carnival aspect to it, which I found really appealing.
Very much like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Was it 2 or 3? The fucking crazy one where they go down and under. That was 2, yeah.
The one with Dennis Hopper.
The tone is kind of like Dennis.
It is, yeah.
The tone is kind of like that, and I think it's on purpose. It's almost it's almost like it's happening in the same universe. I liked him.
Some of the scenes in this movie are direct homages, like the whole dinner scene and everything like that are direct homages to, Bring Grandpa and all that kind of stuff.
Bring Grandpa.
Homages to Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
Although Texas Chainsaw Massacre was not funny, like that, it was like really, really disturbing. Whereas this one is kind of more. I don't know if I'd go as far as to call this a black comedy. Wikipedia does, but. There's a lot of humor in it. And actually, Rob Zombie said, I didn't mean for this movie to be funny necessarily or campy, but it just kind of came out like that as we were making it. So we just said, fuck it, that's just the direction the movie wants to go in.
Yeah.
So that's the direction that it went in.
That's a good call.
Yeah, and I think that was my, rewatching it, I think that was my favorite thing about it, was like the humor and just like this over the top, like all that crazy like sideshow kind of, because I really do like that aesthetic.
Yeah.
So
stylistically, it's good.
So I kind of got, and I was watching a couple other reviews of this, and like a lot of kind of horror channels are like, they don't love it or whatever, but they're just kind of like, it's good to like put on. It's like you don't even need the you can just put it on mute, like in the background of a Halloween party. I think like Corey Leach said that, and he's like in it because it looks so cool. It's like the story doesn't make a huge amount of sense, but that's okay. Like I said, it's kind of like a ride. I had totally forgotten. One, that fucking Rainn Wilson, Dwight from The Office, was in this. And I forgot that Chris fucking Hardwick was in this from Talking Dead.
Yeah.
I was like, as soon as I saw him, I'm like, holy shit, like Chris Hardwick. And he gets vivisected.
And the dude that played the damn serial rapist was in it from Predators. Remember they went on the hunting plan?
Yeah.
The dude that was in the orange jumpsuit, he plays the deputy. He does a good job in this movie.
He's in a lot of movies, actually. Yeah. Like, he's a great character actor.
He can play a real good scumbag.
Yeah.
Or
I mean, dick. That's a niche that some people have. That's one we were just talking about the other day with Miguel Ferrer, like in
play an awesome
in the Night
dick.
Flyer. You play like an awesome. Hey, you play to your strength. That's what you do. And the thing
but
about
he's kind of a likable dick. He's a dick, but you kind of
which is a hard thing to pull off. I mean, you know what I mean? Like some people are just better at playing villains, and you just have to lean into that shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's funny because I kind of feel like a lot of people that are really famous for playing terrible people or villains are like the nicest people ever in real life. Which I think is really funny.
Like Michael Rooker. Nice guy.
Yeah, everybody says he's like the nicest dude ever, but then he plays like fucking the biggest scumbag.
Michael Rooker from another Mississippi boy.
He's just,
And you go back in time and look at Michael Rooker when he's young and in his prime, and he was a good-looking guy. But he never got any kind of romantic leads. He was always, Henry Lee Lucas, fucking serial killer type, but...
And I always feel like that's such a shame because personally, I kind of find character actors, if you want to call it that, a lot more interesting because they're distinctive.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like people that are kind of like big A-listers and stuff like that, sometimes they're fine actors, but they're kind of like samey.
Yeah.
Because like I said, they all go to the same plastic surgeon, they all look like super perfect and everything like that, and that's like not that interesting to me. It's just not interesting.
Rooker kind of had that damn Daniel Craig kind of tough guy, kind of handsome.
Like he's rough around the edges.
Yeah, he had that.
Right. Now, you were asking last night about, when we were watching House of a Thousand Corpses, you were asking about the guy that played Tiny, the big, huge guy.
I bought into it. Was it real?
Yes. That guy, he's sadly passed away at the age of 32.
Yeah, okay.
Congestive heart failure.
Yeah.
But, Matthew McGrory was that guy's name?
Giantism?
Well, it's, he was probably, because he was 7'6".
All right.
7'6".
I knew the proportions were wrong, and I was like, "That I don't think that stilts in those legs to where the
No,
knee
that's
is,
actually him.
Yeah.
And actually, when I looked at his Wikipedia page, he played a lot of roles like that. Obviously, like he played like a lot of monsters and shit like that. He was even in some video. I think he was in like a Marilyn Manson video and some shit like that. But yeah, so like I said, he's sad. He died like really, really young. But sometimes like people with that affliction don't usually live that long.
Endocrine system problems.
Yeah, he was actually in the Guinness Book of World Records as like world's tallest actor.
Okay.
And according to his Wikipedia page, he was also in there for world's longest toes.
Okay, yeah.
So and he had like huge feet. They said he wore like 29 and a half, size 29 and a half, something like that. So yeah, that was, I mean, obviously they put burn shit on him.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was 7'6". So because I was interested to like look him up. You know what I'm saying?
I knew something wasn't right. It didn't look like a costume.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
That's really what he looks like. That's really what he looked like. But now okay, so like I said, Sid Haig is great in this. I had forgotten. I thought Sid Haig was in it more. I guess I was thinking of the later movies where he's more of the main character. This one he's almost kind of like he's at the beginning, which is great, like in the opening part, and then he doesn't really show up again until the end. And then you don't, because in Devil's Rejects, don't they establish that Captain Spaulding is Baby's dad?
I think so. I don't remember.
Because in this one, they don't like say that he's related to them. He's just like working with them, obviously, but they don't say that he's related.
Well, they can't say that till the very end, and then you realize that he's not saving the girl; that he's fucking taking her back to fucking Dr. Satan.
Yeah.
So he knew him all along, and that first 1/3 of the movie, it feels like a Sid Haig movie. Sid is fucking acting his ass off. He's fucking hilarious, and it's fucking scary. Fucking spooky in it.
I mean, he's
like
awesome.
This motherfucker's
so awesome.
Nuts. And I was watching it and I was going, man, that reminds me of my Uncle Wilson. My Uncle Wilson was like Sid Haig, I guess, doing Captain Spaulding. But he wasn't fucking a killer. He was just a fucking...
that you know of.
And he was skinny.
Yeah.
He was real skinny, but he had that same expressions, would tell jokes. One day he decided he wanted to die and just drank himself to death. It took him about a month. And his family tried to stop. He's like, oh, fuck it. They laid him off of work, and he didn't want to live anymore.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, for telling fucking bad jokes at work. You know what I mean? Fucking, it wasn't the 1970s. You can't tell fucking
have done it.
Sex jokes and fucking those kind of jokes and shit.
Yeah,
fucking posting them so everybody can see him. He got fired for that shit. Got laid off. Not laid off, but he retired. He made him retire. He went home and drank himself to death. Yeah, my Aunt Krista, who's my dad's sister, couldn't stop him. He went to the hospital twice. He says, I'm going right back to drinking because his fucking livers were shutting down.
Everybody.
He says, I'm out of here. And they were like, all right. They just got to let him drink himself to death. He stayed outside in a damn trailer. He had a camper. He had a camper out in the back, lived in that damn camper. Wouldn't even come into the fucking house. Just damnedest thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my cousin couldn't stop him. Yeah. Sad, but
so not as fun as Sid Haig then.
No, he was fucking hilarious.
I mean, like the way that it ended.
Yeah, no, my Uncle Wilson.
Although Sid Haig passed away.
He was just old Louisiana Cajun, and he was like that, you know.
Yeah.
But he wasn't a villain. He was just a crazy, funny fucking dude.
But I mean,
he was your uncle that you're fucking 14 and he starts letting you drink.
Right.
He's one of those.
We all had one of those.
We all had one of those. And then he'd drive around and with you in the car because you could have open container in Louisiana back in those days. And I'm driving around like I'm an adult drinking with my uncle at like fucking 14. Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, Sid Haig stole this movie, and I've forgotten like how little of the movie he was in, because like I said, I was thinking of the later ones that I've seen more often. Bill Moseley is great in this too. He's always great in everything. Well, Bill Moseley was in Texas Chainsaw Massacre too. He played Chop Top, so that's why he was in this one. All of the weird like rants that he does. Because where they have like all those interstitials that were shot in like Rob Zombie's basement. that they just kind of like, that he could kind of put in between all the scenes. He said that he based a lot of those, like the stuff that Sherry Moon was doing and the stuff that Bill Moseley was doing, where they were just like fucking around like in the basement. He wanted those to be like, he's like, if the Manson family had made home videos, he's like, he wanted that to be that kind of vibe to it. So that's what some of this, because Bill Moseley is just in there like saying all kind of crazy shit. It's like, it doesn't really make any sense, but he was trying to, you know, kind of get that Manson family vibe. I will say, I think like Sherry Moon got better later on. She's not a great actress in this.
It's hard to tell, though.
I mean, and that laugh is just like so annoying. That laugh that she does. It's part of her character, but
yeah, it could be the character. It's hard to tell. I think overall she's effective. She got the job done. She did do the character. That may have been what the character was intended to be.
Well, I guess it was, yeah.
You know, or at least that's the way she came off, and they were like, "That's good enough."
Yeah.
She doesn't ruin the movie by any means. I think she does kind of add her own quality to the movie. You know, she is cute. She's all in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She's not phoning it in. She's
no,
all
not
in.
at all.
So I've heard that complaint about her, and I kind of saw what they were talking about, but on further viewing, I say, no, I think it's acceptable. I think she's pretty good. I think that's the way the character is supposed to be, because she's memorable.
Yeah.
She's memorable.
Although
and she is unique.
Yeah.
And when you look at fucking real serial killer footage, it's like they're role playing.
That's
like
true.
when you look Charles Yang and all that kind of stuff, they don't look realistic when they're filming themselves with the victim. It looks like it's a fucking fake B movie. Well, that's the way she comes off. She comes off
like
as
she's like
fake, real fake and artificial and LARPing. But that's the way serial killers are on tape when you see them.
I did like the one scene where she was, where they do like the show, like on the stage, where she's lip syncing.
Yeah, she did a great job
to that song. Like I like that outfit, and I liked that scene. I thought that was like really good.
Yeah, so she people are too hard on her. Well, that's his girlfriend. He's gonna put his girlfriend up there, but she does have talent. She did bring some stuff to the two movies. You know.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, no, I say like I think she got better like in later movies. I guess this was like her first one.
Yeah. Well,
so you can tell that she was kind of like.
Because the second one, I remember her being great in the second one.
Yeah, I haven't seen the second one in a while.
We got to see that second one again. But I remember it being great.
Yeah, she was better in that one.
Yeah.
Like in this one, she just seemed a little bit. Like I kind of feel like she should have like dialed it back, just like a notch or two. Just a notch or two.
That's direction.
Well, yeah.
That's the director. Okay.
I know.
That's what he wanted. Or he thought it was acceptable. So
yeah,
it works. It works.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
like I said, I mean, the whole vibe of the movie is just kind of like I said, grotesqueries. It's just kind of like a circus act.
Yeah.
And if you approach it with that in mind, or like I said, like a ride where, you know, shit doesn't necessarily have to make sense necessarily, but it's just kind of like, oh, the next thing is just like, oh, here's another cool thing. You know what I mean? And as long as you come at it like that, then I think it works really well. And like I said, visually, it's really, really cool. I do get that, like, some people, like, I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, like that super spastic like editing and stuff, and like where he just sticks all these like filters and all that kind of stuff. And I think if another, I don't know, I kind of feel like if another filmmaker had done that, it would probably just like piss me off. But because it's Rob Zombie and that's like his thing, I don't think it bothers me as much. And I kind of feel like too, I just like that he's homaging. I saw like a couple of reviews that said he's almost like the Quentin Tarantino of.
I was gonna say that.
Of horror movies. Yeah. Like I've seen a couple of reviews that said that.
His dialogue in the movies and kind of the subject matter and the presentation kind of reminds me of Tarantino at times.
I mean, Quentin Tarantino's
that's not a bad thing. That's not bad. I'm not slagging on him because
Tarantino's scripts are actually like a lot better, like a lot cleverer, like his dialogue and stuff. I feel like
Tarantino does some good stuff. It's spotty. I don't like everything, but he does do some good stuff.
Yeah, it's similar because you can tell that they're like homaging. They love all these old movies. Yeah. They love all this old shit, and they're trying to convey their enthusiasm for it. And I feel like that's
they're trying to make it a vibe, like a. They're trying to bring life back into that style of cinema.
Right.
So I understand
I get that. And like I said, it's not going to be for everybody, and that's okay. But watching this movie again, I actually like this one more than the later ones now, because the later ones I feel like went more in the vein of not only just like mean-spirited, but more grounded in reality. It looked more like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, for example, which is like these warm, deserty, realistic tones. This one is a lot more cartoonish, and I think that works in its favor. But I couldn't remember because it had been so long since I'd seen this one.
I want to see the other two, though.
Yeah.
There's two more, isn't there?
Yeah, there's Devil's Rejects and Three from Hell.
That's right, Three from. I want to see the other.
Which
two
we
again.
Saw Three from Hell not too long ago.
Yeah, but I don't remember a lot about it. I remember thinking it was okay.
It was okay. It didn't stick out to me.
Yeah, like I said, I had to see it again.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's your mental state when you see the movie.
That's true. That's why if I liked something or I thought it was okay, I'll usually give it another go after a while, just to make sure that I wasn't in a bad mood or something.
Yeah.
Like the first time that I watched it. But I kind of feel like when this movie came out, it got a lot of negative reviews, but apparently it struck a chord a little bit because it did kind of start building up a cult following. It made money. I mean, it obviously made enough money for, them to be hey, do a house based on it at Universal Studios and hey, make 2 more movies. But I kind of feel like it didn't really find its footing until it came out on DVD. And then, it started getting word of mouth. Another thing that I remembered this movie being a lot grosser or, a lot more graphic, as far as gore. And there is some, but not as much as I remembered. You know what I'm saying? And it's not so much that I saw the uncut version and, now I've seen the cut version, because apparently the uncut version hasn't been shown anywhere, so there's no way I could have seen it. So maybe I was remembering it more, because like I said, you had to think of it too in the context of the time, where a lot of horror movies that came out in the early 2000s were a lot kind of wimpier, you know what I mean? Not as graphic, and this one was a lot dirtier, grimier, and more graphic. But by today's standards, it's not really all that gory. Like I said, I think the goriest thing is when they show the guy from The Talking Dead being vivisected, but it's not really. But the way it's edited, you can't really see a lot of it.
It's not
anyway.
real explicit.
That's what I'm saying.
It's not real explicit. It's just a lot of it's just imagery, and tone, and dialogue, and the sound effects, and you see the results of what happened. They made a fish boy, and that was creepy. They
like that.
They actually didn't show it happen.
They made Dwight from The Office into a fish boy.
Yeah. They didn't show it happen, but it weirds you out. They don't show a lot of it happening.
Yeah, you just see the aftermath.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas, like I said, I feel like The Devil's Rejects was more kind of throwing you in the middle of the thing with them and the victims, and them actually torturing the victims in real time.
Yeah.
Whereas in this one, you just kind of saw glimpses of it, and then you just saw what happened afterward. But in a way, like I said, that made it more fun, even though it was people getting fucked up still, and really nobody escaped or anything like that. But
made it tonally real similar to Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. From what I remember of Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, a little bit more goofy.
I don't want to call it goofy, but a little more. It was more entertainment based. It's more kind of like an old video game, like Splatterhouse or something.
Yeah. Not so much trying to disturb you.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But just trying to make you have a good time.
Yeah, trying to entertain you and fucking trip you out over shit. Yeah. It's not really trying to, human centipede you or anything.
It's not trying to not trying to put you ass to mouth or nothing.
Right,
Yeah, sure.
Make you gross. Make you grossed out. It's not trying to do that.
Yeah. It's a good time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess that'll do it for our little Halloween movie retrospective here. And so let us know in the comments what you think about House of a Thousand Corpses, what you think about Rob Zombie's original movies in general, because I actually liked this one better. I can't remember. I saw it in the theater. I know that. But I might have seen it one time after that, but it's been a really long time. It's been ages since I've seen it. So it was really nice to see it again, and I actually did like it better the second time. Like I said, visually it's really, really cool. But yeah, that'll do it for this movie retrospective. We'll see you guys again on the next one. Bye.